The Grumman F-9 Cougar, often overshadowed by its predecessor the F9F Panther, was one of the most important jet fighters in the U.S. Navy's early Cold War arsenal. It marked the Navy's transition from straight-wing jet fighters to swept-wing designs, giving American carrier aviation a new level of speed and performance during the tense years of the 1950s. Today, we're going to dive deep into its history, development, performance, and legacy. The story of the Cougar begins in the late 1940s and early 1950s. The Navy had already deployed the Grumman F9F Panther, a reliable straight-wing jet that saw extensive combat in the Korean War. But by that time, swept-wing jet fighters like the Soviet MiG-15 were proving to be far superior in speed and high-altitude performance. The Navy needed to adapt quickly, and rather than design an entirely new aircraft, Grumman modified the proven Panther with a new swept-wing design. The result was the F9F Cougar, which retained much of the Panther's structure but introduced wings swept back at 35 degrees. This change alone transformed the aircraft into a far more capable fighter, able to reach transonic speeds. The Cougar first flew in 1951, and its performance was immediately impressive compared to the Panther. Its maximum speed jumped from around 575 miles per hour to over 650 miles per hour. The swept wings not only increased speed but also improved the aircraft's performance at higher altitudes, giving Navy pilots a better chance of competing against Soviet fighters. For the Navy, this was a vital step forward in keeping carrier-based aviation competitive with land-based jets around the world. When it came to design, the Cougar was visually sleek, with its swept wings giving it a modern look compared to the older straight-wing jets. It retained the single-seat cockpit with excellent visibility, something carrier pilots valued highly during tricky takeoffs and landings. The aircraft was powered by the Pratt & Whitney J48 turbojet engine, which provided reliable thrust and allowed the Cougar to perform a wide variety of missions. The Cougar was armed with four 20mm cannons mounted in the nose, the same as the Panther, but it could also carry bombs, rockets, and later on, air-to-air missiles, making it a versatile multi-role jet for the fleet. The Cougar's cockpit was designed with pilot usability in mind. Instruments were arranged for clarity, and the bubble canopy offered a clear view of the deck during carrier approaches. While it lacked some of the advanced avionics that would come later in jets like the F-8 Crusader, it was considered modern for its era. Behind the cockpit, the fuselage was streamlined, and the swept wings gave it that distinctive Cold War silhouette. The Cougar's landing gear was sturdy and well suited for carrier operations, a trademark of Grumman's rugged naval aircraft. In service, the F-9 Cougar filled several roles. It was used as a day fighter, a fighter bomber, and later, as a trainer in the two-seat versions known as the TF-9J. Interestingly, while the Cougar entered service too late to fight in Korea, it did not see combat in Vietnam either. Instead, it served primarily during the in-between years, training generations of Navy and Marine Corps pilots. The two-seat trainer version became especially important, allowing new aviators to transition into jet aircraft safely. The TF-9J even flew combat support missions during Vietnam as a fast-forward air control aircraft, guiding strike aircraft onto targets. Over 1,300 Cougars were built, making it a significant production run for its time. Its presence aboard U.S. carriers throughout the 1950s gave the Navy a much-needed jet that could hold its own in an era of rapid technological change. The Cougar also demonstrated the Navy's ability to adapt quickly by modifying existing designs rather than waiting years for entirely new aircraft. By the early 1960s, the Cougar was being phased out, replaced by newer designs like the supersonic F-8 Crusader and the F-4 Phantom II. But even as it left frontline service, the Cougar remained in training roles, proving its durability and reliability. Many Navy and Marine aviators got their first jet experience in a Cougar, cementing its place in aviation history. Looking back today, the F-9 Cougar is often seen as a transitional aircraft. It bridged the gap between the first generation of straight-wing jets and the more advanced supersonic fighters that defined the 1960s. It may not have been as famous as the Panther, nor as iconic as the Crusader or Phantom, but it played a critical role in the Navy's development. Its swept-wing design, strong performance, and adaptability made it a cornerstone of naval aviation during the 1950s. So while the Cougar never became a legendary combat aircraft, Its legacy lives on as the jet that gave the Navy the speed and capability it needed at a crucial time in the Cold War. It's a reminder that sometimes, the most important aircraft aren't the ones that see the most combat, but the ones that quietly prepare the way for the next generation.